The Rotary 2.5 versus the Rotary Pro. These are two bespoke Lotus rotary solutions, and in this video, we're going to compare their advantages and disadvantages and work out which one is right for you. So let's start with one of the most obvious differences. The Rotary Pro is a lot bigger. Where the Rotary 2.5 is 218 by 138 by 115 millimeters, the Rotary Pro is 691 by 194 by 235 millimeters. And this huge difference in size speaks to one of the key differences between these two rotaries. The Rotary 2.5 is designed for marking small, lightweight parts. If you're marking something like a gold ring, it's absolutely spot on. But if you wanted to mark a heavy bottle or anything made of glass, it just can't take the weight. However, because the Rotary Pro secures the product at both ends using this pneumatic tailstop, it can carry substantially more weight, whilst guaranteeing that your product is nice and level and that the laser stays in focus. This pneumatic tailstop is actually driven by the same air lines that go into the machine, so it's incredibly easy to install and control, and is really well built for marking things like bottles and glasses. Another great aspect of this pneumatic tailstop is that it is controlled using the same PLC as the laser, which makes it really easy to automate. So the PLCs that we fit in our machines as standard allow you to connect all of our accessories, from the plate stacker to the cobot to the Rotary Pro, and make them all think with the same brain. So you could connect a Rotary Pro and a cobot to a Meta C for automatic loading, clamping, marking, unloading, and run this thing as a 24/7 operation. The Rotary 2.5, on the other hand, can only be clamped manually and therefore just cannot be automated in the same way. But maybe that's putting the cart a little bit before the horse. So let's talk about how you install and use these rotary systems and examine some key differences. The Rotary 2.5 bolts directly onto our T-slot tables for a secure and accurate fit. The Rotary Pro actually fits onto locator spikes that come pre-installed with the Meta C. There are some small concave attachments underneath the rotary itself that allows it to be really easily installed in exactly the right place. When it comes to clamping the part, the Rotary 2.5 clamps on directly to the chuck using this wheel to secure the part in place, whereas the Rotary Pro has a few different options of clamps, chucks, and cones to mean that there is a greater versatility of parts that you can fit to this system. If you want to mark a variety of different parts, with the Rotary 2.5 you do have to manually unbolt and reattach to the T-slot table in order to change the position of the mark, which can be a little bit clunky and time consuming. However, with the Rotary Pro we built it with these locator pins down the side, which makes it incredibly easy to adjust either the tailstop or the chuck to the size of part that you want to mark. The handy thing about this, aside from not having to unbolt and reattach the rotary every time you change part, is also that as part of your job file, you can make a note that part X needs to be at stop 11, part Y needs to be at stop 14, and you will always have really consistent positioning. But what about if you want to tilt or angle your part? Well, both these rotary systems can do that, but in a slightly different way. The 2.5 can actually tilt anywhere from 0 to 90 degrees. There is a bit of a trade-off here, because if you do rotate up to 90 degrees, it's likely that your part will then end up outside the marking field of the laser. But if you have a consistent part that you know always needs to be tilted to 70 degrees, once you're bolted in place, you're good to go anyway. The Rotary Pro can go anywhere from 0 to 20 degrees, so it doesn't have the same tilt angle capacity as the 2.5. What it does have is a much more granular control. There is this handle here which allows for an extremely fine granular control of the tilt of the rotary. The other advantage, of course, is that this will always stay within the marking field of the laser. So the only real downside is that you can't tilt on as steep an angle as with the 2.5. So we've compared automation, installation, and usability. So which one is the best? Well, as always, it depends on what you need. For marking smaller parts where there's little variation in size between them, for example, a range of different rings, the 2.5 will do an exemplary job. It's really easy to install and align, and so if you're only really working with one part or one setup, the difficulties around adjusting its position aren't much of a deal breaker. The other thing to consider is that while the 2.5 can fit inside any Lotus machine, the Rotary Pro cannot fit inside our micrometer. So if you are looking to mark small pieces like jewelry or small metal components, the 2.5 and the micrometer is a fantastic combination. However, if you're looking for more granular control, if you want lots of ease of use around marking lots of different variations of parts, and if you're looking to add automation really in any way, then the Rotary Pro is the winner. Heavier products like bottles and glasses and bowls will be almost impossible on the Rotary 2.5, whereas they will be easy on the Rotary Pro thanks to this pneumatic tailstop clamping the product at both ends. Take a look at this bowl that we engraved using our 3D scan head and using a Rotary Pro to index the part round 90 degrees, and you can see how it would be impossible to mark such a thing on the Rotary 2.5. It's really up to you which solution you'd be after. They're both great rotaries, they're just built for different things, and that is where our sales team will be happy to advise. They will listen to you, they will hear your struggles, they will hear your pain points, and they can advise you on which system to go for. I mean, who knows, it could be neither of these. It could be that you go for a vertical turning center like an Meta 360. If you're interested in that, then I've actually put a video link in the description in case you want to see how we took the whole concept of the Rotary and turned it on its head. But that's what we're here for. We're here to advise and we are here to help. And I hope that this video has given you a rundown of the key differences between these two Rotary systems. But as always, if you have any questions, please do put them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.